Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining today's live webinar. I'm Dr. Shah Siddiqui, your host from Sales Funnel Accelerator. And today we have a special guest and talking about a special subject and mindsets. Why mindset is crucial for winning high value clients. I know most of you are in business and you wanted to grow your business. But before you jump into grow your business, you need to think about your mindsets, that what you want, how you want, and how you can achieve that successes. Because you can achieve success and your mindset is not out there, you can fall back. And there are tremendous examples you will find around you that yes, without mindsets you cannot grow. So we have a special guest today, and we've been working sometimes now supporting each other in different aspects and referring people to each other. So I have Nikki Kaur, and specifically if I give her introduction, uh, Nikki Kaur is a personal and business growth expert, licensed DISC communication trainer, executive contributor, Brian's Magazine. So, Nikki, thank you very much for joining today. How are
Thank
you?
you for having me. No, I'm really well, thank you.
So, if you, because this is my first live with you,
hmm
if you could give a brief introduction to our audience, that would be fabulous.
Okay. Well, I came into the coaching world probably, 20 odd years ago. And I entered via an agency. I was working for an agency who looked after people who had drug and alcohol addictions,
Mhm.
and specifically young people. And my role in there was to be the trainer and to help people who had maybe had some sort of experience in that
Mhm.
world, or they'd been affected by it, and help them to change their life around and help other people through their own experiences. Um, and throughout this, the interesting thing is when you work for somebody who's, my work is related to the criminal justice sector.
Mhm.
You get an awful lot of really good training when you work for people like this to help people to change behavior. And through this sort of training I was getting through psychology and all that sort of stuff, I became interested in coaching. And
Mhm.
then I took my coaching qualifications and went on to learn DISC, the DISC model for
Mhm.
psychometrics, which is about understanding behavior and understanding how you relate to other people and how they relate to you. And this led to my starting my own company in personal and professional development, where I now work with people at all levels of leadership, and some of them are leadership in corporations. I've actually worked for the United Nations in there as an executive coach for them. Other people, and perhaps my biggest audience at the moment, are those who are either starting out in business or they've been in business for a while and they haven't really got to where they want to go. And I think the main thing I bring to this audience is my own experience of having a fabulous product, but not really knowing anything about business. And over the years, I've done a lot of CPD, a lot of work around this, and a lot
Mhm.
of marketing, obviously, and sales work. But the most important thing I had to shift was my own mindset,
Mhm.
and I had to believe that I was the right person to help people who were perhaps years down the line, and they had masses of experience and fabulous expertise, but what I could help them with was shifting their mindset so they felt confident enough to get out there and actually to talk to people who they knew they could help. So,
That's a great explanation, Nikki.
yeah.
Because when you have a mindset and when you have a mission, two different
hmm
things.
yeah,
Mindset and mission, two different things, and people don't understand how they can fulfill their mission with or without mindsets. And that's the things that I think people struggle. Most of the time I give my examples. So today I'm going to give example of my new business partner, Rob Trent. So he has disability and wheelchair bound and accessibility issues.
hmm
He has a great mindset, and that mindset, uh, took him from zero to hero. What he does, you'll be amazed to know about that. He paint with his mouth because he doesn't have limbs power. Great talent,
Wow.
you know. So, you know, when you have a mindset, you can reach where you go, where you wanted to reach.
Hmm.
You can see that there are many type of athletics or charitable work that okay, people are raising millions of dollars or pounds, and they are crossing their boundaries with a mindset. So today, Nikki, we're going to be dive deep into mindsets and how it can steer your growth to the next levels. Because when I wanted to win high value clients, everyone wants, but without a mindset, you cannot do it
Yeah.
because that's core important.
Hmm.
So my first question to you, why mindsets can influence you or mindsets can grow you to the next levels, um, why it is necessary.
Well, you have to have the belief in yourself, and you have to believe that you you're of a level where you can actually talk to the people who you want as your audience.
Mhm,
Some people keep themselves very small because they get overwhelmed by other people who are often just talking a good story, um, and they they lack the confidence to
mhm,
step into their own and to step into their own spotlight and be the person that they can be. So a lot of people, as I say, they're staying small, and they haven't even conceived what
mhm.
is possible. And
Okay.
it's interestingly enough, one of the first meetings I often have with people, they say they're bored or they want to do something or they want to grow, but they don't really know. And
Mhm,
they they've never had an experience of looking at a bigger opportunity. And
mm,
I'll give you an example, a really pertinent example right now. A few years ago, a couple of years ago actually, I was talking to somebody. I just met them casually on LinkedIn, and you connect and you find out what each
yeah,
other are doing. And this guy, he was saying he was in the NHS and he was bored.
mhm,
But he really didn't know what to do, and he didn't know whether he had the skills to go self-employed. And I said to him, "Well, let's start with what you're passionate about,
mhm,
because if you're going to change and you're going to go self-employed, we both know that it's a hard journey, isn't it? But you've
mhm,
got to have the mindset to get through that, get over the humps, go the way you need to go to get where you need to be. And the best way to do that is with something where you're passionate. Now, this chap, his passion, his hobby was drones.
mhm,
Now, I'm talking a couple of years ago before drones were like everybody's passion and hobby. And he couldn't see, he was, at the time, he was just doing a couple little projects with the local youth clubs and things like that.
mhm,
And he couldn't see where this could take him. And I tried to explain to him, with examples. Imagine you were part of, a great big holiday company, say Keone, and you were the drone that took footage over their fabulous holiday sites and things like this. He couldn't imagine it, so he never stepped up. It was the same skills as he'd been using with the youth club, but he could have just
okay,
very easily stepped. He also had family in Fiji. Imagine he was doing drones, beautiful resorts over there, but he couldn't
mhm,
imagine it. And if you can't imagine something, it's very difficult to step into that reality. So that's the first thing you have to think about with mindset. Is what's bigger than your imagination? Who can you bounce ideas around with? Who can you get
mhm.
enthusiasm from? And this starts to help you grow because then you can start to conceive things.
That's a great example,
Mm,
Nikki, because when you're talking about mindsets, people really, I think, some of them, not everyone, they don't understand what is actually mindsets. And mindsets is means your ability as well, isn't it? If you have a mindset that okay, you wanted to reach the moon, you have to have that ability to reach the moon, because if you wanted to go to moon, you have to be so much clever. Now we can see that you to become an astronaut is not everyone's job. So if your mindset is okay, you are setting your minds and the goal is not feasible, you will fail, isn't it? So,
Well, we might actually differ here. You see, I have this theory that everything is possible.
mhm,
Your
okay.
your theory and my theory, we may even be speaking the same language, just using different words. But I think everything's possible. You just have to fill those gaps. You know,
Hmm.
some people want to be, as I say, some people have this idea that they want to be an astronaut, but actually, they're only going to be able to be an astronaut if they can make the steps that'll take them towards that. And
Hmm.
if they can't put in place the things that they need to, the actions they need to go to the next step, then obviously they're not going to become an astronaut. You could say the same about, often people dream about being a music star, maybe a guitarist or something who's on the
Hmm.
stage. They see the end result, but they don't see all the work that's gone into what
Hmm.
it takes to be that performer. And so if you have the right mindset and the right desire,
Hmm.
it's got to be coupled with the desire. So if you have that together, then yeah, I think you can take those steps and you can get there.
That's a great example. So now I give my example. Um, People they are following me for sometimes they probably know that, and this is a repetition for those people. They already heard my story. I born brought up in a rural village. Not brought up. I born in a rural village in Bangladesh, and then came to stay in Dhaka. So I brought up in Dhaka. I was autistic. I did
Hmm.
not know at that time, but my mother safeguarded me. And I was bullied and a lot of other things. You know that a strange characteristics of a boy. No one likes that characteristics because I was afraid and I did not know what to do and a lot of other things. But my mother created my mindsets like, okay, I know you're struggling, but what you're good at, think about that.
Yeah.
Do that one. And then in my in my school, when I was in six and I'm going to seven, I found that okay, I'm very good at education. So I keep growing that one.
Hmm.
That gave me the strength and boost and the mindsets. Like okay, I cannot do a lot of different things, and I can do one thing better. I make it myself expert on that one. For businesses, if we talk about mindsets and your ability, what we should do, there is a common characteristics in our community that okay, you are not good at something, try to improve that one, not considering improving your better quality. What is your suggestion in that aspects, considering my situation and the other people?
I think we can all do things and take different paths to get where we want.
Hmm.
The key is how much you want it,
Hmm.
and you you'll do something different in a different way to me because we think differently. We are different people. Now, this is the same across everybody, isn't it? We all do things in our own different way. But if you really, really want something, you will find a way to make it happen. And
Hmm.
this is often where we fall down because we take notice of the gurus that give you their way of doing things, and actually, it's not necessarily going to be the way you do something. Take let's just take something a lot of us will struggle with within our lifetime. Losing weight, for instance.
Hmm.
There are so many different ways to lose weight, and if you have a guru who's all about keto, they'll
Hmm.
be telling you to lose weight using keto methods. High protein, high fat, and low carbs and all that sort of stuff. But
Hmm.
if you have somebody who's all about plant based, they'll be trying to help you lose it in a totally different way.
Hmm.
But it's what's right for you, and what you can do easily. Like you were saying, your mother must have been a wonderful lady. I hope
Hmm.
she's still there supporting you, no doubt. But if somebody can see what you're good at and help you to exploit that, you're gonna take more and more steps, because we're naturally more inclined to do things that we're good at, because we get a lot of pleasure from it.
Mm-hmm.
But if somebody straight away tells you to do something that you're struggling at, you're not going to find it very easy to get over that first hurdle, to get to
Yeah.
a point where you're actually succeeding and getting some feedback to say that you're succeeding. So yeah, it's finding your strengths, and if you can exploit those and take that to wherever you want to, then that's a really clever route to go. If you haven't got a strength in a certain area, but you really desire that end result, then you can build that strength. It might take you longer. It
Mm-hmm.
might be that you start to build it and you realize this isn't the route you want to go. So you might find it's you're more inclined to, let that desire go. But if you've got the strength and you can exploit it, yeah, that's a great way to get to where you want to be.
I totally agree with you. I give you another examples, because every person is different in this world,
Yes.
and based on their characteristics, some people, they do not accept their failure.
Mm-hmm.
They do not accept that they have gaps in that scenario. If you are working with someone, maybe a business mentor, or maybe working, we can give you a business scenario, that okay, you're working with a business and you are inclined to teach the other person, like, okay, I have experience and you should follow this pathway. Yes, you can change the pathway based on your requirements, but here is the map to go to A to B, or A to D, or A to C, something like that. And you do not follow that one, and you are very much headstrong, like, okay, I don't think so that that's the right thing, instead of trying what can be done. If I give an example, like, okay, I'm your client and you have massive strength on this disk and all other things,
Mm-hmm.
so you would guide me from your mindset, like, okay, this is the research says, this is the things, this is the case studies have done so far, implement that to a person to make them to the next levels.
So using the DISC model, I mean, there's lots of models that explain the psychodynamics between us, psychometrics. And if I was to give you your DISC model,
Mhm.
I mean, I can read it anyway, because obviously I'm qualified to do this and very experienced. But if I was to give you a link and you did your DISC profile, you would see yourself in a way that has been. Oh, sorry, went all dark there. You'd see yourself in a way that is maybe different to how you expected.
Mhm.
What the most important thing you need to do is have self-awareness. You need
Mhm.
to understand how you come across to other people, and how other people, how other people are responding to you. And once you've got this self-awareness, it's not about changing who you are. It's
Mhm.
about understanding how you communicate
Mhm.
and how somebody would prefer you to communicate. It's rather like, speaking different languages. There's four in personality styles. There's four main personality styles. And I speak with quite a lot of detail. Now, if I was speaking to somebody, say like Donald Trump, who has, he's a very direct, few words, and he just wants to, he's bottom line focused, he'd switch off before I finished my sentence. And I'd have to recognize that whatever I'm saying, I have to be very, very succinct. But
Mhm.
I won't see that until I've actually explored what my personality is like from somebody else's point of view.
Mhm.
And often you find, particularly if people are in sales or they're in networking, often you find that somebody who's very vivacious and out there and really loves being around people, they'll
Mhm.
be a bit too over the top and in the face for some other people, and they might get quite offended because they've said something that they think is really natural for them to be engaging with other people, but for somebody else they've come into their space too early.
Mhm.
they haven't given that thought that somebody else might not appreciate such a direct approach to a friendship or a subject. But you might not be aware of this unless you've done something like your disc, or you've worked in teams where you've had, feedback. And often people grow their self-awareness just by working with others and sort of being mindful of other people's reactions. But let me just tell you something about my background. Part of what I've done over the last 20 years, I've been a competency assessor. And my role, because I've been in L&D for years, my role was to go into companies and to actually just be like a fly on the wall and watch how people were in their role, and then to identify the gaps between where they are and where they needed to be professionally.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a bit of a habit now. It's not something I find difficult to leave alone. I'm constantly observing, and I can spot improvements people could make immediately. When I'm in network groups, we go off into a little huddle, don't we? And I see the way people are and the way other people are reacting to them. Or I might read something and see the way other people are responding on the likes of LinkedIn or Facebook. And I can immediately see what it is they need to do to be more competent in their professional area. And this is through my own training. And this is another thing I help other people with. If they're not getting the response they want, then there is something that can be just tweaked and can help them to move forward.
Yes, I totally agree with you. So we got some questions from the audience. We're going to be answering them a little bit later. My next question to you, if we're thinking like, okay, I have a business,
Yep.
and I have a plan, maybe it's a short-term plan or mid-term plan or long-term plan. How do I achieve my success with my mindsets? Shall we do a baby steps, or shall we do a measured steps, or shall we do a marathon? What would be the best scenario to keep my mindset to achieve my goals if I'm a startup or I am a small business?
I don't like to generalize, because if I was talking to somebody who, it's likely they could be my client, or I could be working with them, I would want to know them personally. And some people will want to work faster than other people. And this is something I would establish quite early in our relationship, in our business relationship. Some people don't have the confidence to take big strides. And this is where I support people with internal motivation. And I can sometimes lead people by the hand, because your confidence is an outcome. And sometimes you need that, you need to just get pushed off the edge and realize that, it's not going to do you any harm. You're going to be fine. So it depends on the individual. If you're a fast-paced individual, then go at the pace that you're happy with. And you might be very happy to just go out there, try something and make mistakes and learn by your mistakes. For somebody else, that could be crushing. And they could be that they need to take so many smaller steps that actually it might be that they're procrastinating, or they're taking so long to do something that by the time they've got something out there, their product out there, it's past the event. So life's moved on and things have changed. So it really depends on the individual. I will always look at what people's strengths are, look at what their personality dictates for them, help them to understand the limits of their personality. There are things, being fast-paced isn't always brilliant, because it can get you into a lot of trouble. So you can overuse your strengths. But also the contrast to that is, if you are a slow-paced and very precise individual, that can be phenomenal in certain situations where that skill is really, really required. But the procrastination or taking so long can actually, have a negative effect. So again, this is me saying I would look at the individual, look at their personality style, and help them to understand, how their strengths benefit them and how overusing their strengths can limit them.
Great answer. My next questions. I have experienced this myself working with individuals, that blame shifting. this is, I couldn't do it because it's your fault. We don't see our fault ourselves. In mindset and acquiring success, how important it is to recognize your fault rather than blaming others.
I think this goes hand in hand with leadership. You know, I once had I was working in hospitality many years ago,
Mhm.
and I once made a big mistake. And the person who was I was a manager, and my leadership came in, and this was a very big learning curve for me. They said, Nikki, when you're in leadership, the buck stops with you. I I had blamed I blamed my chefs for something because I was managing this kitchen, and I had blamed my chefs for something. Well, I hadn't really blamed them. I said, "Oh, I thought the chefs had checked that," which is, that's a shift in responsibility, isn't it?
Mhm.
But it was my fault as the manager, and I very nearly got the sack. When things really go peak tong, don't they? That's when you
Mhm.
learn that when you're in leadership, the buck stops with you. And this is one of the first things be you have to be very aware of, and you have to take on board and embrace that you are the ultimate responsibility is yours. I don't know whether did that answer your question, because it certainly sparked a very raw memory for me.
No, no, that's fine because we have a tendency in business, in family, or in community, like,
Hmm.
okay, uh, it's not my fault, it's your fault. That's why it has happened. If I give an example of my son, he's not happy. Daddy, it's your fault I'm not happy.
Oh yeah, yeah.
He's very young,
Hmm.
11 years old. That's okay for him to blaming me or my wife. Okay, I couldn't do it. Why I couldn't do it? It's your fault. But when you go for a business scenario and someone is saying, okay, I could not do it because it's your fault, but not recognizing that, okay, I have some gaps and I need to improve those, and then I can blame if the guidance and all of the things is not right. So proportionate, I would say that, okay, if you are playing together, if you cannot make a goal, then is a team efforts together. It's not like the striker, they will
Yeah,
take the blame, isn't it?
that's right. I I do think though that when people are consistently blaming other people, it's time for them to start looking inwards and finding what they could do.
Hmm.
If you feel somebody else is to blame, then perhaps, it depends if you are in which position you're in. But should you have asked some more questions?
Hmm.
Should you have had more clarification? We're responsible for what happens, aren't we?
Yes.
And it's understanding how we can help ourselves or help somebody else to help ourselves. And
Mhm.
what's the missing part? Yeah, with your son. Oh, how old is he?
He's 11.
Oh, okay, we can forgive 11-year-olds, can't we?
Yeah.
My son was goalkeeper when he was 11,
Right.
um, and I think he's now doing very well. He's much older, obviously. He's now doing very well, and I think those early lessons of being the goalkeeper and having to take some of the knocks for when the goals went in,
Mhm.
from people who like to blame others for the fact that there was goals scored against them. Yeah, I think that did him the power of good.
Thank you. So, thank you everyone for joining today's live webinar. I hope you're enjoying this webinar, and we just wanted to request you please share this webinar with people. And if you wanted to get hold of me or Nikki Kha, our details are on this webinar on LinkedIn, Facebook, and all other platforms. So, if you are thinking about growing your mindsets or maybe achieving your success,
Mm.
you can start it just now. That okay, you can start and you can think about, ask questions, and do a lot of other things that can steer your growth to the next levels. Take the responsibility. That's the first thing, because you need to be responsible. If someone assigned you with a work, or if you assigned a work by yourself, like okay, I have to do this work, you have to be responsible. Time management, and as well as a person, we don't have all the growth, we don't have all the knowledge. So seek help if you don't have that knowledge, or learn about that and then implement it. It will get you the success. So Nikki, we have some questions now. Just gonna share that with you. Just give me 1 second. So here, Raihan, he asked, what are common mindset blocks that repel high value opportunities?
Sorry, what are common mindset blocks that
repel high value opportunities?
I didn't hear that middle word. That what?
So, what are common mindset blocks?
Okay.
Blocks mean blocks that repel high value opportunities.
That refuel high.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me just. I'm going to reword this. What are mindset blocks that need to be refueled?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If you think you can't do something,
Mm-hmm.
then normally the best way to deal with that is to ask yourself, first of all, why it is you can't do something. And once you've got the why, you've got what it is you need to overcome.
Mm-hmm.
So say for instance, I was offering somebody a program and they said, oh, I can't do that, I haven't got the money.
Mm-hmm.
What a question and a challenge I will put to people is, if you know you haven't got the money, then maybe that's the first step. You need to find a way to get the money.
Mm-hmm.
So it's breaking it down and breaking it down and breaking it down to find out what it is that is the tiny step that's stopping you. Or let's have another example.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe your mindset is that I'll never do that. It's too much.
Mm-hmm.
Again, what exactly is too much?
Mm-hmm.
Is it too long a journey that you can't see? And if it's too long a journey that you can't see the result, again, what are the small steps that need to be taken to get to that first hurdle, to get over that first hurdle?
Mm-hmm.
The blocks aren't about giving up. They're just little things that have to be broken down so you can achieve what you need. And this goes back to what I was saying earlier, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I believe people can achieve anything. And if you want to get somewhere and there's a diversion in the road, you don't go, oh God, I can't get to that wedding, can't get to that party. You think, okay, let's just realign this and find out the way to get it. What's the other road we can use, or what do we need to do first? So find out what it is. Ask yourself what it is, and it may be that you're actually making excuses because you don't feel confident inside. So you'd rather there's an excuse for you not to do it because you're afraid of failure.
Yes.
And this is the reason lots of people don't do things, because they're actually, if they don't complete it, they've never failed.
It's a great example. So we have Darren Vivin. Thank you very much for your message here. You have to read the room and read the person.
Yes.
So you have another remarks on biggest coffee cup ever. Darren, thank you very much for your message. And if you have any specific question to Nikki or me, please feel free to answer it. Ask this question to us. And in relation with your last remarks, I wanted to say, my story is just like uncommon, unusual, because people you normally don't come up with this kind of scenario. Very odd childhood, then a good decent lives, and then brain tumor, loss of business, and all those things, and move away from education. And that was my biggest challenge. After I had to move away for my education when I had the brain tumor surgery. And I had the big missed a big gap when I exits from my business, and I was valued zero. And people say you cannot do anything because you are 35 plus, and just do live your lives, and then that's it. But I protest against those things. That okay, I know I have a failure. I know I have. I'm just recovering from my brain tumor, but I want to do something for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I took the biggest challenge, make up my minds, okay, what I'm good at. I need to achieve that. And everyone around my circumstance and around my friends, families, they said, sorry, you were just making a laugh. I said, okay, let's see. I steered my lives because I had a mindset. So
Mm-hmm.
now I value myself differently. Usually, that I have valued myself zero in 2012 when I had the business exit and I was on the street without any penny, without any education. So, my question to you: how stronger you have to be when you thinking about your mindsets, or how determined you have to be to reach your goals?
Is it strength of mind, or is it just, is it the amount that you want something?
Hmm.
I think I think if you want something deeply enough,
Hmm.
then you'll get it. But so many people, they're living somebody else's life because they're they've been stereotyped, which is obviously what happened to yourself. They've been
Yes.
stereotyped and they've been influenced, and their confidence has gone down. But if you really, really want something, you can look past what people are saying about you or to you,
Hmm.
and just find the people who believe in you, find the people who support you, and make those steps. I was in I took some time out myself recently. Well, actually, it was during COVID, and I thought, oh, I'll go and do property. Um, I've done a lot of property in the past, and it was hard, really hard, because I'd done property in a very domestic way, whereas this was a mindset to make business.
Yeah.
But it was so hard, and everybody around me was saying, "Oh, why are you doing this, Nikki? Just leave it alone. Just go and do your own thing. You're a coach. You're a this. You're not in property." Because they didn't see why I wanted to do this,
Hmm.
and I actually made a massive investment, and I made a 33% return on my investment. And people were looking at me like, where's this come from? Because people don't see what's inside you. They
Yeah.
don't see what your passion is. And if you don't talk about it, not everybody's out there on LinkedIn or Facebook saying what they're doing, or shouting about their own accomplishments. If you quietly go your own way, people may not realize that there's a side of you that's incredibly strong. But if you haven't got anybody around you to help you, this is something that I have a passion to do myself, is to hold people's hand and to see
Hmm.
that, that to help them to see, rather, how possible everything is for them, and how creative they can be to make sure things can happen.
Hmm.
You can hear my passion now. I love to help people to just go for what it is that they really know that they want, and to help them find a way. But I would say, if you've got people around you who are dragging you down, this is what we call the crabs in the bucket. They're dragging you down because they want you to stay the way they are, that you are, to them. And it's rather like somebody who doesn't want you to give up smoking because then they'll lose their smoking pal. It happens, doesn't it? And
Yeah.
sometimes we have to make a decision to move away from people like that. And if they're family, perhaps that's hard, but perhaps you need to move towards people who will support you, and have your family as a different, help have them
Mhm.
as a different sort of side to you.
Yeah.
But always go out there and seek support. Find your tribe, as they say.
Yeah, that's a common thing. If you go
Hmm.
to LinkedIn and all other social media, you will see this is our tribe,
Yeah,
and people usually don't understand what that means. Tribe, you are common functionalities, common thinking, and common communities. And you also need to go to out of your tribe, because
yeah,
sometimes, you know, every person is different. So maybe you have a tribe, and that tribe doesn't fulfill some of the things that you desire. So you need to look for a different tribe in different places. I just wanted to ask you another question. I understand that, okay, a person, they wanted to grow their business,
yeah.
they have to have a mindset. As a business person, how open you have to be to trust your employee with their mindsets or leading them to the growth, because I have seen that experienced people, they don't value inexperienced people in business, in education, in a lot of other things. So, but my supervisor, as you said earlier, some people, they valued me, they trust in me. That's
Hmm.
why I'm here. So how important it is to trust the person you're mentoring, or maybe doing something, or maybe your employee, to bring them to success.
Trust is massive, isn't it? If you're working closely with somebody
Hmm.
and they're mentoring you, you have to be able to trust your mentor wants the best for you.
Hmm.
I have been in situations, and I know many other people where you've been mentored by gurus who actually they want to keep you down there
Yeah.
because that makes them the guru.
Hmm.
And this is one of the reasons I started. I have a little network, and it is quite small at the moment. One of the reasons I started this was to show appreciation within our network. We support each other. Currently, we're only ladies, but that will grow at some point. But we support each other by recognizing that everybody has a strength to bring to something.
Hmm.
And I think going back to what you were saying, if your employer made you really, really valuable in terms of helping you progress in your role, would they
Hmm.
be afraid they're going to leave? They're going to lose you. You know, there's a very famous saying, isn't there? I think it was Richard Branson said this: "Train people so well they could work anywhere, but treat them so well that they don't want to go anywhere."
Yes,
And I think with trust, you have to trust that the people that are helping you have your best interest at heart.
I totally agree with you.
Mm.
We have another message. We have many questions. So one question is from YouTube. I'm just gonna share that with you. It's Reach Blog OP. So thank you very much, Reach, for your message. I have to be a billionaire and trillionaire business. How can I make ma'am and sir? Okay, that's
Sorry, I
that.
don't understand what they're saying there.
So the person message that he wants to be a billionaire or
A
trillionaire,
billionaire.
yeah, with lots of money. How can he do that? Money doesn't come automatically. It's not a lottery that you win the next day, and you will find it very difficult that you bought a ticket and you are a billionaire on the next day. So in that space, I wanted to ask Nikki to answer this, and then I will
Yeah.
add my my thinking about it.
Okay, so you want to be a billionaire. Well, first of all, you have to have a billionaire mindset.
Yes.
And if you don't know what that is, study billionaires and find
Mhm.
out what their mindset is. It's everybody can say it's very easy to say, oh, I want this, I want that. If you're going to be a billionaire, the likelihood is that there are other things in your life you'll have to give up.
Yes.
I have there's something called the Cartesian questions in coaching, which is asks you what will be happening if you reach your goal,
Hmm.
what won't be happening if you reach your goal, what will be happening if you don't reach your goal, and what won't be happening if you don't reach your goal. So, and these questions, they're a bit of a mindset that you have to sort of turn your head inside out to answer these questions. But it's very, very important that you understand what you won't be doing right now. What you won't be doing, you won't be out there playing on your Xbox for 16 hours a day if you want to be a billionaire, unless you're going to design the next Xbox, program or whatever it is. What are you prepared to give up to give yourself time? And how realistic are you about this? I could help somebody become a billionaire, not tomorrow. I could help them by giving them, strategies, but they won't be a billionaire tomorrow, like you say. Even if you won the lottery, most of the time it's only a few 100,000 or something. It takes time. So I can't remember who you said the guy was, the person was who wants to be a billionaire, but I guess this is for all billionaires out there. My advice: study billionaires, identify what it is. What's the reason you're not a billionaire right now? And
Yes.
what is it you're going to have to give up? So as you give yourself the time to fill those gaps, perhaps you need to identify what it is that is going to make you into a billionaire. But being a billionaire is going to take years, but it's going to also take lots of progressional steps and lots of knockbacks on the way. So surround yourself by the people who will help you to the next level, and then the next level, and then the next level. Because I'm telling you for now, there's not many people who start from, like regular leaving school or something, who have a billionaire mindset. Think and Grow Rich. Those are good books, aren't they?
Yeah.
Robert Kiyosaki. These are good books.
Mhm.
Get to know what other people are doing, what their journey was, and that'll help kickstart wherever it is you're going. Get
I
yourself a
totally
coach.
agree
Get
with
yourself
you.
a coach who believes in you.
So I do not know anything about your reach, but my understanding, if you want to become very rich, uh, as Nikki said, read rich people, why they are
Mm,
rich, how they are rich,
yeah.
understand their story. Because if you're seeing someone, a very rich person, you need to see how they become rich. It's not that 1 or 2 days they become rich
Mhm.
unless they have a groundbreaking innovation, or maybe they win a lottery or something like that. Those are exceptions. Those are not
Mhm.
common functionalities. But for myself, if I wanted to become a billionaire, is difficult because it's not so easy, and you have to have a mindset. I don't know. I will become billionaire in next few years or in next few decades if I'm alive, but I can be if I know I have a strong mindset and I have researched through what I wanted to achieve, and that achievement will come slow and
Mhm.
steady. So you have to stick what you wanted to do, finish that. If you do not earn, or if you do not be a millionaire or billionaire, think why you cannot. Search your problems, find those, hang around with those people to get that situation or position or something like that. Because sometimes we give examples. If it's a rotten apple and you put that with a good apples, they will be rotten. It's
Mhm.
normal. So if you wanted to be billionaire, get that characteristics first, that okay, you can be one, and then follow the footpath of the other successful people and see where you can go to
I
help
think
you. Nikki is there. Yeah, Nikki.
I was just about to say the other thing is collaborations.
Hmm.
It, very few people become successful without being good collaborators,
Mm,
without being able to communicate. Communication, the way you talk to other people, the way you are around other people, that is massive, isn't
yes.
it? People respond and they do business with people they like.
Hmm.
And if you understand, as I going back to what I was saying a little while ago, if you understand yourself, if you have self-awareness, you can become anyone. You can become anything. You
Yeah.
just got to understand. Start with you. Understand how others have done things, and put it together. What's special about you? What can you grow? and who can you collaborate with, who can help you grow even bigger. As I said, I will reiterate this every time. What are you prepared to give up? It's not going to happen if you're playing on YouTube all day or, watching TV.
When I started my education in 2017, because I was leaver, college, university leaver, and then when I went to return to my education, they said you pass 5 years. There is a system in place in the university here. If you do not complete your education at certain times, you have to do it again.
Okay.
So I went back to my education institutes, and they said, "Sorry, you have to do 1 year. That we cannot do things like that." They lost all my files because of the digitization or all that things. So what I did, I said, "Okay, I'm not going to be quitting this. So if I'm doing 1 year, I have to find out which university will take me on." So I was searching for 2 years, writing different universities, academic and all other things, that this is my current situation and I wanted to complete my graduation.
Mm-hmm.
Can anyone enroll me? And then I got my enrollment at the Solent University in Southampton. What I did, as you said, what you wanted to sacrifice, there's a good lessons. I was in council, and I was in council hostel that time. Uh, and I decided with my wife what we should do. If we live in the council, and if we don't move from there to Southampton, I wouldn't achieve my dream that I have now.
Mm-hmm.
I have to sacrifice council property and all those things to come to this situation. I don't have any property now. Yes, it will be in if I want, but sacrificing what you wanted to sacrifice.
Yeah.
That's the core thing to establish yourself. I work very hard because I work different companies, support different people, try to earn money, and a lot of other things. I have to sacrifice something to grow myself. And it's not only your sacrifice. If have a partner, if you have family,
Mm-hmm.
they also need to sacrifice, because otherwise you cannot go where you wanted to reach, where you wanted to go, because it's just like a cocoon.
I think that's an amazing story. And I think one thing you pulled out there, your partner. What are you doing things in life for? Is it just for you? Some people don't have a partner to think about, but you obviously had a well-established relationship there, and this is really important that you realize that relationships take investment and time as well,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to be in agreement. You have to be on the same page. Otherwise, somewhere down the line, you're going to sacrifice your relationship for some other goal.
Yeah.
And it may well be that by the time you've reached that goal, you realize actually, the relationship was more important than you realized at the time. So yeah, very, very rounded view. And again, when I coach people, I often use a method, and this is a method very, very well established by John Whitfield, famous psychologist. It's called the GROW model. And this is the goal, the reality, the options, and, the when and what are you going to do. Now, when we go through this, the goal is the huge picture, not just I'm going to be a billionaire. It'll be what will that be looking like? What won't you be doing? What will you be doing? What people will be saying? What won't they be saying? That all. So we go into it in a lot of detail to make sure that it's not just some fantasy, that you really understand that this is where you want to be or what you want to be doing. But the reality is often where you are now in relation to where you want to be, and what you can do. Do you have contacts? Do you have people that are going to be pulling you back that you might have to step away for? There's a lot of things you have to check out in the reality. And this is the difference between the fantasy of doing something and actually the determination. You were obviously phenomenally determined in those days, and you've got, you can tick those boxes. Did it, but I bet it didn't come without a lot of stress. And this is something everybody has to go through. So we go the goal, the reality, and the options. And this is another thing. People, if you don't look into the options, you might just think, oh, I found a solution. I can do it this way, but that's
Mhm.
probably only one of the options. And the reality around that option might be that further down the line there was a little gap you had to fill in. Say when you went and you went to Southampton,
Mhm.
you'd have looked into that in great detail before deciding that that was what you wanted to do. And
Mhm.
again, when you're doing the grow model, you break everything down into all the details so you get it right. um, and then what actions are you prepared to do? You gave up a lot, you took those actions, and you stepped into where you wanted to be. But not everybody will do that. A lot of people will take the learning, they'll take all the talk and the preparation, but they don't actually take the action. And that's the difference between being a billionaire and being exactly where you are. You know, you've got to take the actions and decide what that first action needs to be. Maybe it's get a coach. Maybe it's talk some more to Shah about your technology. Who knows what that
Thank
first action
you.
is?
That's a good add-on. Where Nikki, if you wanted to talk, we can talk hours. We are nearly end of our sessions, and I would thank you everyone. They have shared your questions. For time availability, we could not answer those questions for you, but we will. I will bring Nikki future events as well, because I think mindset is crucial if you wanted to do anything. So, few takeaways I wanted to discuss end of this session. So, if you could give a few takeaways to our audience from this session.
I would say action. Everything you have to do, everything you want to do, will only be a fantasy unless you take action. If you're not taking action, it's because something right now isn't quite aligned. And as
Mhm.
I say, it could be a little gap. It could be that you need to halve that reaction, halve that action. I'll give an example here. Sorry, I'm big with examples, aren't I? But say you wanted to be fitter and you decided, I'm going to ride my bike 20 minutes, 3 times a week. You go and get it out the shed and you can't do it because you haven't checked the tyres and the tyres are flat. You didn't take the action. However, you what you all you really needed to do was check the reality and the opportunity, and is there anything else you need to do to make that bigger action possible? So if you haven't taken action, if you want to be this billionaire and you haven't read the mindset, you haven't understood the mindset, that's possibly your first action. So take the first step. If you want to go anywhere, if you want to go up any set of stairs, you have to take the first step, don't you?
Yeah,
That's my big takeaway here. Take the first step. If you
thank
haven't
you.
taken action, think about it. What other action could you take?
Thank you, Nikki. And thank you, everyone. So, my takeaway would be if you wanted to reach your goals and win high ticket clients, you need to see, as Nikki said, think about what sacrifice you need to do and how you want to achieve and how you can compromise. Sometimes we don't compromise and we wanted to achieve success. So
Mhm.
if you're working with partners, as we discussed, partnership is a great thing. You cannot achieve great things alone. Either you have to have great employee or great partners to achieve your goals. And when you work with a different person, you have to compromise. That's the core thing. Without that, you cannot achieve your goals. So, Nikki, stay on the line. I just gonna say bye bye to the audience and end this session. So, thank you everyone for joining today's live webinar. And if you wanted to share this webinar to people that you like on LinkedIn and all other social media, feel free to share, and please subscribe to our YouTube channels. And if you have any question, feel free to go to our LinkedIn profile or Facebook profiles. We are there and we are super active always. And Nikki is a great person. Always will refer you if you are connected with her with different things, because referrals and leading you to the success is what we do and the way that we grow and sustain. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Nikki, for joining this live
It's been
webinar.
a pleasure.
And we're going to be welcome you to our next webinar next time. Until then, stay tuned, be blessed, and bye bye.
Bye bye.